السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. عليكم السلام. Who
السلام
is that?
عليكم.
عليكم السلام.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Zahid Yusuf. How are you?
عليكم السلام. Zahid bhai. Everyone good? Alhamdulillah, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah, ji.
Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله mashallah.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. Yusuf.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
This is Aziz.
Mashallah, brother Aziz.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Sani.
وعليكم السلام. Same. Mashallah.
Alaikum, brother Yusuf.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Mashallah, everyone coming on slowly.
Slowly.
This Friday evening, long weekend in
Assalam.
Alaikum salam.
Shukr.
Alhamdulillah. Shukr, mashallah. Is it public holiday in Sydney or other states, Brisbane, Adelaide?
No, Melbourne.
Only in Melbourne?
I seen another show.
No, Sydney also public holiday.
Sydney,
Friday and Monday.
Easter Friday?
Easter Friday, yes. Yeah, public
Easter
holiday.
Friday
Okay.
and Easter Monday.
Only
Adelaide as well.
Brisbane the same? And our Adelaide brothers, sisters, Perth brothers, sisters?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere
Public holiday. I
MashaAllah.
think it's in the international one.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jummah Mubarak to everyone. Everyone have a good Jummah, inshallah.
MashaAllah, mashallah.
Ameen.
MashaAllah, sorry, brother Anas.
Sydney, yep, Sister Yasmin says Sydney, and Sister Sophia Adelaide too, yeah, mashallah, everyone.
Sorry, you couldn't come to Melbourne.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Muhammad, ahlan wa sahlan.
Assalamu alaikum.
2 times in one day, mashallah. This big blessing, alhamdulillah.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. We've got everybody coming in. We'll give them another minute to get in now, inshallah. Ramadan, subhanallah, is past behind us now.
Yes.
It's like it never happened. Huh? Subhanallah.
So quick.
So quickly.
We'll wait for the next one, inshallah. Inshallah.
Inshallah, Allah lets us reach the next one, inshallah.
Ameen.
Ameen.
Ustaz Hani, am I sharing the screen or you'll share the screen with the?
You can share.
Assalamu alaikum, Hakima from Melbourne.
Alaikum salam.
Welcome to all of Melbourne. MashaAllah. Welcome to all of Melbourne, all of Sydney.
Thank you.
I've seen a couple of Adelaides as well.
Yes, Adelaide.
Adelaides. Any Perth here? Anyone from Perth?
Yeah, I'm in Perth at the moment.
In Perth,
Okay.
mashallah.
From Darwin
Yeah.
to Perth.
You're not usually in Perth, are you?
No, I work. I'm here. I'm on night shift at the moment.
Oh, mashallah.
Oh, wow. Well,
I
it's
work
behind
underground.
there anyway, isn't it? It's 6 p.m. there in Perth.
Yeah, 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. Noodle from Perth, Abdul Salam from Perth, mashallah.
Noodle from Perth.
Fatima from Melbourne, Hamid from Melbourne, mashallah.
Mahmoud Murad, good to see you back again.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I have been slacking a bit. Ever since I booked the trip, I just haven't had the opportunity.
Alhamdulillah. Who didn't come to the Sydney meeting? Anyone? Other than obviously people in Melbourne?
Yeah, I wasn't there.
You couldn't make it?
Yeah, I was at work that day, unfortunately.
Oh, we could have left you a plate of palau. Next time, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Mahfouz from Sydney.
Alaikum salam, brother Mahfouz. Marhaba. I think we're ready to go, Yusuf.
Yeah, I think it means recorded if we need. I'll just share the screen so we have what I need on the. Let me find it. Here it is.
How's everyone feeling? Everyone, the feeling it's getting closer, or we've still got what, good 5 weeks before most people are going.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone seems like they're ready now. Yeah.
MashaAllah. Okay.
Okay.
What I'll do, let me just I'll put everyone on mute.
Yep. We just to let people know, the questions are going to be at the end. The questions. just to let everyone know, inshallah, the questions, we're going to leave the questions to the end, at the end of the talk, inshallah. So if you, the type that forgets, get a notebook and write it down. Otherwise, get ready to ask them at the end. There's a lot of things we're going to be going through today, but we'll mention them in a second, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم انشر علينا رحمتك وانزل علينا حكمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم انشر علينا رحمتك وانزل علينا حكمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي يا الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين. We've got everyone gathered again. For a lot of people are on their long weekend, so it's a good time for them to go through all these tips and tricks and etiquettes and whatnot. And this is such an important document for people to go through that we really advise that beyond today's meeting, that you've gone through specifically the Hajj and Umrah and just general etiquettes and obviously what to take and what not to take and stuff like that a few times to make sure that you're on top of it. Today we're actually gonna, main thing is just to strongly highlight the reality of Hajj. Okay, number one. And secondly is to also give you pointers and tips of good things that you could do to make your trip smooth and fruitful, inshallah. So it's actually a very practical meeting we have today. And inshallah, if you have any questions, you ask them at the end and we can take it from there. But before we begin, I thought I'd just remind some of the people. I know in Sydney, we had a brief talk about different things, but one of the advices always of our elders and pious predecessors, when a lot of the Hujjaj were asking him questions, they always asked them, how can we have an easy and accepted Hajj or Hajj Mabrur? So the elders would say to them, do you want an easy Hajj or do you want an accepted Hajj? So the young people would say, come on, Sheikh, can't we have both? So the elderly would say, listen, usually the people who have high expectations to have an easy and accepted Hajj, those are the people who usually suffer the most. And those are usually people who get frustrated the quickest. So they said to him, okay, so, you know what, give us some practical advice then. So if that's the case, you're telling us that we shouldn't have high expectations for both. He said, have intention to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is first and foremost. So our whole trip, our whole reason we're doing this is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be accepted, inshallah. And we know the accepted Hajj is paradise, inshallah. And that's what we aim for. And that's what all the predecessors and all of us aim for in this pilgrimage. So by having Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pleased with you, number two, you accept what comes, you take day by day. You take day by day. And he said, accept what comes your way. And he said, accepting comes your way comes in two forms. One, it comes in the form of if any good comes from your trip or is on during your trip, this is where you should make shukr and say alhamdulillah all the time as much as you can. So when we were mentioning to the people in the meeting, we said the aim of Hajj other than reaching paradise is to soften our hearts. Because when you soften your hearts, you're able to do everything that Allah is pleased with. When your hearts are hardened, there's more pride and there's more arrogance in it. But the aim is to soften the hearts. So by softening your hearts, we make shukr to Allah and make a lot of dhikr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a lot of the people used to have aims and goals during Hajj that I want to do this, I want to do khatam of Quran, I want to say astaghfirullah 10,000 times, I want to say la ilaha illallah 5,000 times, make salawat thousands of times, and they tick it off, knowing that this is part of the cleansing and part of the purifying and the self-purifying. So he said, accept things in two ways. One, when good things happen, be please say alhamdulillah and make shukr to Allah in abundance. And he said, when hardship happens, when hard things happen, right? Be patient. And they mentioned be patient. And when you're patient, know that Allah is purifying you. So if there's hardship, your patience is reward, and know through that Allah is purifying you. And that's why a lot of people, when they travel to Hajj, they knew that hardship or illness was a cleansing of sins and a purifying of the soul to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So with this in mind, inshallah, we wanted to go through these practical tips, inshallah, to add ease to the trip and be realistic, and our expectations to be realistic, so we don't suffer and we don't get frustrated by what is in front of us. From that, I will let Yusuf begin, inshallah, and then we can continue on with the other practical aspects.
Jazakallah khair. Yeah, just in following from that, as Hani mentioned, like our aim is Allah, the pleasure of Allah. And if that is our aim, and we go with that intention, inshallah, then whatever comes, we will find it easy afterwards. We will look back at it and say, it wasn't so hard, it wasn't so difficult. And at the same time, inshallah, we get the rida of Allah, and we get an accepted Hajj. So one of the important things we mentioned, just so we can get into it, is that this document that we've sent out, we've put it onto the WhatsApp group. It's very important that everyone reads this document, okay, from start to finish. You can read it at your own time. We have plenty of time, okay? It's not like a novel where there's so much text on each page. It's spaced out. There's a lot of information, but it's very important that you read it from start to finish. We're going to go through some of the key points and highlight some of the very important things that it's important for you to know. And from experience, and for those that have been to Hajj before, they will be able to tell you the things that we're going to highlight. If you follow and the best you can, take heed and take notice, and practice the things that we're highlighting, things will become easier for you and more smoother for you during the Hajj journey, inshallah. Okay, so we're going to go through the key things. Please read it. I'm getting a lot of people asking me questions, and I don't mind, but a lot of people ask me questions that are clearly in this document that we've sent out already. People asking me questions that we've just posted the answer on the thing. So I want to remind everybody, please, the things that we put onto the WhatsApp group, as we said from the very beginning, for those that have been with us from the start, that's our primary form of communication, and it's key communication. Okay, it's one of the reasons that we don't open the WhatsApp group for everyone to chat, because things will get lost in it. You know, eventually we'll do that, but for now, the things that are going on there are critical information. So I put on there, for example, the other night, that everyone's going to be getting an email with the list of their guide, and I said clearly on the WhatsApp group, disregard that email until we tell you who your official guide is. And people are emailing me say, I got this, is this my guide? I got this. Please read the information that we put on the WhatsApp group. If you're not watching the WhatsApp group and you're watching this recording, later on, we're going to put the recording up, go back to the WhatsApp group and read the information on there. So this document is on there, it's for your benefit. And we ask you to take it for your benefit, inshallah. So it starts off with the general etiquettes, and these are things which you all know. You've heard about it, you've read about it, and it's just common sense things. You know, general etiquettes: maintain patience throughout the journey. You're going to hear that a lot. Avoid arguments, of course. I mean, we're on Hajj, we're going for Hajj. It's an ibadah. You're going to be doing Umrah, you're going to be doing Tawaf. Tawaf is an ibadah. Avoid arguments. Respect others, goes without saying. Keeping your area clean. This particular, we're in a sacred land. You shouldn't be throwing rubbish around. Definitely shouldn't be doing it there. And obviously also in your rooms. And our key focus, it goes without saying, is your worship. That's what we're there for. And it's very easy to get a fully accepted Hajj by following these general etiquettes. So you can go through that. The things that we're going to be discussing, the Hajj preparations, is a spiritual readiness. I think we've started this program already. You've already made the intention to go. That was your first spiritual intention. You're going to familiarize yourselves. We've done the Hajj talk, and you can watch the videos on that. Next week, we have coming up, we have the how to perform Umrah talk, which is going through the different steps by steps of Umrah. And we're going to touch on that today, actually, as well. And continue to renew and purify your intention. Continue to renew your intention, to remind yourself why you're going, and what Hajj is about. It's not just to come back to be called Haji. It's to go for the pleasure of Allah, to fulfill your obligation, and to seek the forgiveness of Allah. And ultimately, as we've heard many times, you come back from Hajj like a newborn baby, and to seek to get the pleasure of Allah, to be able to achieve Jannah, inshallah, and strive for that. So once you've got that intention in place, and you've now sort of ready spiritually and mentally to go, the physical part comes in. Okay, and the physical part, as Mufti Kareem mentioned in this Hajj talk, is Salat is a physical aspect. Zakat is just a monetary aspect. Fasting is physically you're abstaining from food. But Hajj, you're going to be exerting yourself to perform Hajj. Alhamdulillah, we can go by plane. In the past, they have to go by horse or sea or thing. In fact, now many of you might know there's a group going from Spain, and they're doing Hajj on horseback. They started a number of months back, and they're going all the way to perform Hajj on horseback. So they're going the extra mile, so to speak. Okay, so physically we need to be ready. So from our point of view, alhamdulillah, we're fortunate we can just fly in straight into the airport. We get driven to the hotels. We get driven from place to place. But as we know and we've talked about, there's going to be a lot of walking, because that part cannot be overcome. And so you need to get ready physically. This document talks about how to get ready physically to prepare yourself, walking exercises. So we're going to go through that, inshallah. And then there's a medical readiness. We had the medical talk last week. Get yourself ready. Get the vaccinations, audio vaccinations. Start preparing. Reduce your salt intake. The ladies have had a talk 2 weeks ago, I think, and they've got another talk next week. So get yourself ready medically. If you're on medication, make sure you have your things, extra medication ready for you. All of these things we talked about, but they're all here as reminders. It's a constant reminder for you to be able to come back and see if there's anything that you missed or you've forgotten. And then the mental readiness. You need to know what you're in for. And that's the purpose of this particular meeting, because you can prepare physically, you can prepare spiritually, but if you're not mentally ready for what you're going to face on Hajj, okay, it's going to be very difficult to get through it. And the purpose of this meeting is to prepare you mentally. The whole program, actually, from start to finish, before we go, is to prepare you mentally for the journey of Hajj. Okay, so that you are ready. You know what to expect. You know what to anticipate. You're not going in there blind, so to speak. But it's up to you to take the information that we're giving, inshallah. Whether it's from us or anywhere else, reading, learning, studying, going through the documents we've sent, everything that you will need is being provided for you, inshallah. So from the mental point of view, this document is definitely going to help you prepare and be ready so there's less surprises on the trip itself. And then there's a packing list. We've sent the packing list. Now, this photos that's there, it might seem like extreme, but it's happened. It's happened. People come because sometimes in a family, like in Australia, we go on a weight concept. In other countries, they sometimes come on a per bag concept. Okay, so they're allowed 2 suitcases plus a hand luggage and a handbag. So we've had couples coming with 4 big suitcases and 2 hand luggage and 2 little backpacks for a 2-week, I don't know why, and it's full. So there's not even room for the shopping. So really, if you want to make it easier for yourself, we cannot stress this enough. Come with a suitcase, a backpack, and that's it. If you can learn to pack light, your trip will be light. If you pack heavy, your trip is going to be heavy because you've got so much other things to worry about. And in particular, when Hani goes through the tips and etiquettes for Umrah and Hajj, you're going to see why packing light makes such a huge difference. So anyway, we've got a packing list here, and it's there for you. And we'll touch on this towards the end of the program. These are recommended things, certainly important things, but we'll go through that in the second part of this particular talk. And then the health and well-being, as we went last week. Please read through it. It's just a reminder again for you all. For anybody that's got chronic health issues, see your doctor, get yourself ready. And when all of this early part of the document, which is talking about pre-Hajj, it'll make sense to you. If it doesn't, for some reason, it'll make sense to you after Hani has gone through and you understand how to do Hajj, you understand how to do Umrah, and he's gone through the program. And the following pages we're going to go through on the tips and tricks, the things to make Hajj easy for you. And you'll understand why these things in the physical readiness section, in the mental readiness section, in the health readiness section, in the packing section, why these things will make your life so much easier on Hajj and Umrah, inshallah. So we'll come back and we'll come back to questions on these topics at the end of this talk, inshallah. So I want to go straight into, because the main part of the journey and this particular talk and the important things that Hani's going to cover is here. I'll keep this screen shared, Hani. Is that all right? And then I'll just move forward as you go.
Yeah, keep
inshallah.
Keep.
So I'll come back to the packing list, and I'll come back to the physical readiness after we've gone through these essential tips and etiquettes for Hajj and Umrah, inshallah. I'll go to you, Hani.
This is the exciting part. This is the part I love. So, those people, before we get into this, is that we've mentioned to you before that being physically ready for the trip is basically where it starts. So walking long distances, walking for an hour should be very easy for most people, right? The expectations, you can walk a couple of hours at a decent pace without feeling overwhelmed or there might be exhaustion there, but without being completely overwhelmed. So that's why practicing and walking is very important. So let's just go through what's going to be happening pretty much day by day in your pretty much like we mentioned before. We're doing Hajj Tamattu, where we do the Umrah first, right? And then after that we have Niyyah for Hajj separately. So we have our Niyyah for Umrah, then we have a Niyyah for Hajj. And with this Umrah, we start off with Tawaf. So most people, because of our hotels, they're usually all within walking distance. A lot of people might be walking to do Umrah straight away out of convenience. And some people a lot of people might take bus, but that's for another conversation. But the main thing we want to talk about is that, so when we're in Tawaf, and we all know that Tawaf is when we walk into the Kaaba and we're doing our 7 cycles, and we start from Hajar al-Aswad. Okay, so one thing in terms of keeping things handy and making yourself light, like Brother Yusuf mentioned, is we take a light bag with us, whether it's a shoe bag or something light that can carry our shoes, right? So we can move around, right? Because you don't want to be packing your shoes away somewhere and hiding it someplace and coming and picking it up. That's one thing we used to do 20, 25 years ago. And then half the time we wouldn't find our shoes back again. So having your own shoes and in your bag would help you while you're doing a tawaf, having things in there. And then usually in that bag, you might have a separate compartment as well to put other things in there. But we usually say before you're going on your tawaf, when you're leaving your hotel, don't carry any valuables. Like if you're carrying gold and things like that and jewelry and whatever, it's best you keep them in your safe that's in your hotel. And we'll talk about the safe a little bit later. But all you need to do is take enough cash for, I would say, going in a taxi and cutting the hair for the men. So what would that mean? I wouldn't take more than, say, 300 riyal, something thereabouts, give or take, just to get yourself by getting back. Definitely something, under 500 riyal, I wouldn't be taking more than that. For whatever reasons, it might fall from you, might be whatever, and you don't want anything to be lost. So taking your phone, usually when I go do my Umrah, I take my phone, I put it in my ihram, or I put it in my bag where it's locked away safely in my room key. And then obviously identification. Identification is important. I think the identification in Hajj, right? They usually have one tagged on their neck anyway, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So just to go into, we're going to go through how to perform Umrah as a concept in a talk coming. This is just about the tips during that Umrah part, so that for the physical, like doing some of the things. But yes, the answer to this question, you will get, when we get there, you get like a hospital wristband, and it will be placed on you when you arrive into Saudi. Okay, and it stays on your wrist until the end. You do not take that off.
So that's enough of identification.
Yeah, and you'll also have a lanyard ID thing as well. But definitely the wristbands that you get, there'll be a couple. They need to stay on your wrist right up until the end of Hajj.
Yeah. So moving on from that. So basically, thanks, Yusuf. So moving on from that, we've got the timing. So a lot of times when we're taking people on Umrah, alhamdulillah, Allah blesses us to go to Umrah, many times during the year, and we always give advice of when people should go and when they shouldn't go. In Hajj, it might be a little bit different. You're talking a few million people trying to do this everything at the same time. So sometimes these rules don't apply during Hajj, but they're still quieter than other times. So when I tell people to do Umrah, usually the quietest time to do Umrah is about an hour and a half after Fajr is finished, get thereabouts. So if people have completed Fajr at sort of 6 a.m., then about 7:30 is a good time to do your Umrah. It would be quieter. People have usually moved out. They're rested. They've probably been there all night, or even they want to go home. They want to go back to the hotel and have breakfast and have something to eat. So it's a good time, I would say 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning to do a Umrah. First, the weather, it's cooler. Number two, it's less crowd. That's the general scenario during the year. In Hajj, it can be a little bit more. Sometimes this rule gets chucked out the window, but it's definitely something to consider if you are doing your Umrah to save you the time. At nights, usually it's 11:30, 11 till midnight is usually a quieter time as well. Also, but not in summer. I wouldn't advise people in summer, but usually in summer, after Dhuhr by about an hour, also is probably the second quietest time after the morning, generally to do Umrah. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind when you're trying to do your Umrahs, inshallah. Now, when we're circling the Kaaba, one general tip we tell people, always know inside is more congested than the outside. So specifically, if you get stuck in the middle, towards within 5-10 meters of the Kaaba, you're going to get stuck in a lot of crowd. When you're on the outskirts, it can be quicker to move than when you're in the inside. Specifically, when you're finishing maybe the last 2 or 3 cycles of your tawaf. So moving towards the edge is definitely better and easier for you to prepare yourself to basically pray your 2 rak'ah of tawaf behind Maqam Ibrahim. So just keep that noted and read through this part. Obviously, we mentioned there's no specific dua except between Rukn al-Yamani and Hajar al-Aswad. رَبِّ آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. We'll talk about that in more detail with Sheikh Naeem, inshallah. So safety, we've got here, stay aware of your surroundings, avoid pushing. So one thing we really try and advise on our Umrahs is that specifically this is for the women. So specifically for the women and the women who don't have a mahram. We strongly advise that you have a minimum of 2 to 4 people chained up together with. So you're starting your Umrah with them and you're finishing your Umrah with them. So, 99% of the time, a big percentage of the time, alhamdulillah, they don't get lost. They don't get separated. Where if you try and say, oh, no, I can do it on my own, or we don't have to be chained up, we're fine, you'll be surprised. Because a lot of times you'll find hundreds, if not thousands of people moving between. If you just have more than 1 meter gap between you and the person in front of you, that's it. You're separated and you might not see each other again. So for the women specifically, even the women that are with their husbands, obviously, stay hooked up together. But specifically the women who are alone and going on Umrah, even if you've done Umrah many times, the advice is stay chained up to the women throughout your journey. Even when you break up to pray your 2 rak'ah of tawaf, behind Maqam Ibrahim, you stay praying right next to each other and you don't leave until you've all left with each other, inshallah.
They'll have, just on this point, Hani, the single ladies that you mentioned, the single sisters are coming. They're going to be sharing a room with other sisters. So you're going to make friends. You're going to make companions. Especially if you're in Medina first, she'll have a chance to meet people and make companions. Otherwise, if you're coming to Mecca first as a single sister, then during the trip and especially when you arrive there, we'll pair you up with some of the other single ladies so that you're traveling together, inshallah.
Inshallah, yeah. So we've got, so the other thing that we advise is that one thing that really helpful during this peak heat, maybe more than anything else, is having a 1 or 2 liter spray bottle handy. So in your backpack that you're taking that bottle. When you're spraying someone, you're spraying each other, right? It just lowers the temperature, between 5 to 10 degrees with a couple of sprays, So that helps you sort of avoid any heat exhaustion and stuff like that. So having that throughout doing tawaf or during your Hajj is very important, and we'll remind people during these slides to keep those handy. Usually they get them with Rawaf Mina as well, right?
Yeah, they'll get them, but they might get it once they've arrived in Medina.
It wouldn't harm to buy
everyone should get one
from Bunnings, 1 liter bottle, or whatever you feel.
Just a small spray bottle
to keep spraying and whatever. It's very handy. Okay. So we were talking about praying behind Maqam Ibrahim, where we mentioned before, it gets very congested. You do not have to pray where the Maqam is. You can pray anywhere behind Maqam Ibrahim that you find a spot. So the most important thing is safety, right, in doing anything that we're doing. So you look for where it's safe and there's a space. Even if you have to walk 100 meters away from the Maqam, it's not a problem. Anywhere behind that there's a space. So you do that and make sure you always think of other people, right? And that's one of the aims of when we're performing our Hajj. We're thinking about other people usually before ourselves. So even if it meant there's an elderly person who's next to me and wants to pray, I will give him the priority to pray and then go find myself another spot somewhere else. So these are very important sort of etiquettes to be aware of, inshallah. So praying anywhere in the masjid is acceptable. So after we're completing the tawaf, the 7 circuits, make sure you're passing on the 8th time, passing the black stone where you say Bismillah Allahu Akbar and you completed it after your 7th cycle. So you're starting your 8th basically. Then we jump into the Zamzam. So Zamzam, it can be a lot. Sometimes it can get very dangerous. People get congested around those areas. The ground can be very wet. You can slip. And then, something happens. Someone might cause some damage to their leg or something like that. So just be very careful around the Zamzam area because that's where you're going straight after. You pray the 2 rak'ah. And then remember, there's just a couple of reminders here that the Zamzam there in Mecca is usually everywhere. Zamzam, and it will mention it could be like a cool tub or just not cooled. So drinking water generally is encouraged during, before, after, whenever you can, just to keep yourself hydrated wherever possible. One thing we always say, we'll mention again later to remind people, always think of other people. We always tell people when they come groups with us, when we go have Zamzam, is first fill up 2 cups of water minimum and give other people to drink before yourself. So to think about other people first before we feed ourselves, inshallah. This creates in the spirit of Hajj, in the spirit of a Muslim generally, inshallah. So when we finish the Zamzam, inshallah, and we make our dua there, there's many dua that can be made when you're drinking Zamzam. Sheikh Naeem will mention them in the talk. But then we have the sa'i, which means the walking between Safa and Marwa, the mountains of Safa and Marwa. And the general advice, generally, if it's very busy, and sometimes when you go in January, in January, it's a peak period. In Ramadan, it's peak period. Usually, a lot of times, we'll go to the 2nd level to do our sa'i. It can save you sometimes, 20, 30 minutes, maybe more, depending on how congested it gets. So you can usually ask if you don't know where the 2nd level is, and they'll they'll direct you exactly where it is. Other than that, it can take you, you could spend an extra, sometimes an hour plus, if it is congested and you're literally just tiptoeing between the Safa and Marwa.
I think generally, the plan will be that we'll definitely be looking to go to the upper levels, 2nd or 3rd level, for sa'i. You're talking about it's nearly 700 meters each way, so it's about 3.5 kilometer walk for sa'i, back and forth, and it's all air conditioned inside. But the expectation will go up. People say, "Oh, I want to be on the 1st level. There's more hasanat." There's no such thing. Okay, the hasanat is doing the sa'i, and the ritual is performing the sa'i. But definitely we'll be looking because it's at a standstill almost.
So safety and well-being is paramount. Yeah. So even though, like we did actually in Ramadan, we did it on the 1st level. But the time we went was a bit quieter than usual. But it's very rare to find that. Yeah. But inshallah, we'll move according to the leader of the group, what he does. You follow the instructions, inshallah, then it'll avoid any person getting misplaced or anything. But other than that, it is a quieter or easier stroll to go through the 2nd and 3rd levels and so forth. So, and then we know the jogging part, just be aware of the people around you. especially if you've got ladies with you. Sometimes jogging, and it's not a sprintathon, it's just a jog. And if you are with ladies, just specifically your wife, then you could get lost in the crowd if you try and get a bit overzealous with your running. So just be aware of the people around you, inshallah. And it is mentioned, some people always ask this question, can I wear my slippers, and can I this, that? Any way, any place in the mataf or in the sa'i, you have to have shoes that are purified and that are accepted according to the fiqh to wear. As long as you don't wear them outside and you walked on different things and whatever, and they're pure and they're clean, and you have a spare maybe in your bag, then that would be, if you wanted to wear them, you could do that. The after completion, you can see, if you read through that, it will show you just the different ways to exit and to go to the buses. And the most important thing I think here is the trimming of the hair. A lot of times, sometimes you'll find ladies, subhanAllah, that they take their hair out in front of everyone and say, I don't know who tells them to do that or whatnot, but they should be going to their hotels, trimming it themselves, or getting someone that's in their room to trim it for them. Okay, I'm sure the ladies talk, and if you have any questions or whatever, they can help you with that as well. But specifically for the men, there'll be barbers that you can use in different areas and allow you to sort of get through that period. But definitely don't cut your hair in the sa'i area where we keep it sacred and clean, inshallah. So that's pretty much the Umrah, right? So the Umrah, you can see it's pretty straightforward. A lot of you have probably done Umrah before, but they're just general etiquettes and tips just to help sort of make things a little bit more fluid, and we be a bit more considerate with the people around us as well, and keep the sacredness of the place intact as well. So when we move, inshallah, to Mina.
Sorry, Hani, just before going to the Hajj, just to remind the people that this was not a talk about how to perform Umrah. Okay, so don't worry, if you don't know how to perform Umrah, there's going to be a talk on the details, going into the fine details on how to perform Umrah. Okay, but we're covering this off now so that when you come back and read this, and there's context in it for you, that when you're performing Umrah, you understand these tips and tricks, and why these tips are important, and these etiquettes are important to help make that Umrah smooth for you. They'll make more sense. For those that have been to Umrah, you'll understand all of that there readily.
Yeah.
For those that haven't been, once you go through the detailed Umrah lesson with Mufti Naeem, then you can come back and look at those tips that Hani pointed out, and they'll have a lot more context for you, inshallah.
So when we move, then inshallah, once everyone's done their Umrah, we've mentioned to people numerous times, your aim is this place now, is Hajj. Your aim is Hajj. Trying to accumulate Umrahs is not the aim. You want to accumulate Umrahs, you come after Hajj another time, right? And you accumulate as many Umrahs as you can. We see it so often, people get overzealous and emotionally too engrossed before they go, and they say, oh, I want to perform 4 or 5 Umrahs, and we find that most people who have that sort of frame in mind, during this heat and the exhaustion that accumulates, they're the ones that end up being in bed or very sick during the days of Hajj. So the whole aim, they planned their whole life to go to Hajj, and they found themselves in bed. Why? Because they got a bit excited, saying, I want to do Umrah, and I want to do extra Umrahs, and I want to do this for this person, that for that person. You're making dua for this person. All your ibadah there is for people and for yourself and things like that. Getting a bit ahead of yourself, and a lot of people hear this, what I'm saying now, and they go, you know what? Yeah, I know what he's saying. I'm strong enough. I can do this. I'm telling you now, you need to listen to our advice and avoid, specifically, I would say, the day, if not the 2 days before Hajj, you basically don't do much. You basically stay in your hotel most of the time, and you get ready for your Hajj.
You remember last year, Hani, we had 3 or 4 people, like I said, we literally had to almost carry them just to get them into Arafah.
That's right.
Because they wanted to do extra Umrahs in the heat. I mean, we got them into Arafah because Arafah is the key for the Hajj. But quite honestly, we're going to tell you now, we're not going to have sympathy for you if that's the case.
Yeah.
Because we've warned everyone so many times. It's not fair. We have to look after everybody, but we're not going to have sympathy. We'll get you into Arafah.
Yeah.
So you can fill your Hajj, but that's it. Yeah.
That's it. So the heat and the exhaustion, you'll only understand when you're there. right? And we're saying this as brothers and as family. We're not saying this. We want you to perform 1,000 Umrahs, but your health and well-being and aiming for the goal of Hajj is the important thing here. And that's why we try and always emphasize this. Some people don't listen, majority do, but inshallah, those some that don't can come to terms to understand that we're doing it with sincere concern for you, right? So 2 days before, we definitely don't usually advise for people to do much other than pray their salah, go to the musalla in their masjid that's there, and don't overexert themselves in anything else. Before that, you can try different things, but definitely pace yourself. So based on that note, so we enter inshallah on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, okay, which is the day before Arafah. It's basically preparation day, which is the ibadah. Just by you doing what the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, was prepare, is basically ibadah. You're preparing yourself for the next day, which is Arafah, which is the big day. So preparing for the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, we all leave via our buses from our respective hotels and with your group leader and so forth. And from there, we all go to the Muwasim tents in Mina. And when we're in the Muwasim tents, the most important thing we say, like Yusuf mentioned earlier, we pack light. Just remember, you just need basically your ihram and a couple of changes of clothes, right? And just any medical things that you might need, a bottle, a spray bottle, whatever you can fit in that small bag. Roller bags, forget about it. Those ones that you roll in the airport, please do not bring them to the Mina tents. Backpacks only, right? Because you moving around with them later on, you'll know what we mean. So backpacks, you're putting in as light as you can, like we said, 2 changes of clothes. If you want to take a spare sandal, thongs, or whatever, underwear and whatnot, you can. Those people who specifically we mentioned that are next to the haram, next to the Jamrat, which is Millennium particularly people, and the Ibis, those people are going to have the delicacy to go to the hotel pretty much every day, right? Where the other ones aren't going to have that delicacy. So you don't even have to worry. There's nothing really to worry about anyway. It's only a couple of days. So it's not like you're going for a week. You know what I mean? So it's like 3 days at most, you know, that you're going to be living with the backpack, and you're going to get access to those people will get access to their hotel to stay in it during the day. But we'll talk about that in a later time. So then we're in the tents. The tents are very, like Brother Dean had mentioned last year that he was in the Muwasim tents. He said, man, it was like, 4-star hotel. So very comfortable, air conditioned, very clean, very organized. There's buffet, pretty much breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to your heart's content. But this is where you have to, look after your nafs and your desires, not to get over excited about what you see in front of you. So during these days, it's very important to be light in what you take and light on your stomach. Specifically the next day, Arafah, which we'll mention in a second. So hydration is important. So in the tents, we're always mentioning this again and again and again, being considerate of the space around you, clean around you, make sure, you're always considerate of the people that are in and around. And that's the whole aim, pretty much, inshallah. So hydration, always staying hydrated, getting electrolytes done. You've got the meals there, you don't have to worry about. You have your sofa beds there, you have your showers, you have your toilets, all that sort of stuff. We advise to take some toilet paper if because a lot of times you won't find that there where it's overused or there's nothing left. It gets crowded. Having sanitizer and stuff like that is also can be beneficial. Having a power bank is also very important. A power bank for your phone, even though we advise specifically the day of Arafah to shun your phone where possible, but for charging purposes and to avoid, even though there's power points there and everything to charge, but power bank is handy in these couple of days. So going from there, we have Arafah. So Arafah is the day we want to keep light. This is the day we've been waiting for. This is the grand final. This is the GF, as they say, So this is the day that we want to make sure we're spiritually, mentally, and physically prepared. So physically, alhamdulillah, we've been doing our exercises before we go. We've been planning mentally and spiritually the du'as that we want to take, the du'as for our families, du'as for the people around us, and the long list of other things that we're asking forgiveness for, that this is the day for it. This is the day that you should be focusing on the worship and reflecting on your worship. Now, this is also the day that we take our essentials. Even Arafah, the men and the ladies were saying, mashallah, the tent in Arafah was immaculate. The conditions are beautiful, very clean, very organized. So there's nothing to worry about in terms of the actual tents in Arafah. That's when we move the next day pretty much to go to Arafah. We're usually there, people mostly leaving closer to Dhuhr time, in and around before and after. They will be in Arafah at that time. And then, so you'll be seeing that this is the focus. Your amenities on this day, in terms of what to eat, this is the day I'll tell people, please, I know there's a lot of food there, but be as light as possible. Like I know the people who usually didn't get sick last year, a lot of the people, they were the ones that were lightest in eating on this day. What were they eating? Literally some fruit, banana, some soup, maybe they had a muesli bar or something, or some dates, and just water and hydrolyte. That's pretty much all they ate. They didn't like the doctor mentioned in his talk the other day. He said the people that ate heavy and rice and all this, heavy food, those people got very tired, lethargic, and a lot of them got sick as well from the heat and the food and stuff like that. So this day, keep as light as possible in terms of your intake, to make your day focused on the spiritual elements, and also make you the next day, specifically when you're walking, you don't have to go to the toilets. The last thing you want to do is spending a lot of time in and out of the toilets. So that's also another good tip there. So the other thing is stay with the group. I know when I went, the first time I went to Hajj with my wife many years ago, we actually stayed with the group half the time, but we actually stepped out a little bit just to have our own dua as well. So if you're going to do that, make sure you come back before Maghrib, so to be ready to move with the group after Maghrib, inshallah. So generally, you should stay with your group. It's advisable, specifically those ladies that don't have a mahram, and do not leave the tent, do not leave the group. We're making group dua. But the most important thing is not the group dua, it's actually the individual dua. There'll be a khutbah there made from the mashayikh. There'll be classes happening throughout the day, and just prepare yourself. This is the day in your own personal worship. This is the aim of this day, inshallah. So Yusuf always mentions this to everyone throughout Umrah or Hajj. Going to Mount Arafah has nothing to do with the Sunnah. The Rasul didn't go on Mount Arafah, and this is where he spent the day of Arafah. Arafah is the precinct, is the area, right? So if Arafah was Lakemba, then Lakemba, if you move a step out of Lakemba, then Arafah, your day of Arafah is not accepted. So being in the precinct of Arafah is where we should be. So don't try and be smart and go, I'm going to go to the masjid that's somewhere, and then you find out later, oh my gosh, I was out of Arafah. So there's barakah in the jama'ah, staying with the group, following the group leader. Don't do anything unless you refer to your group leader first. So to make sure this day is fulfilled. Because after this day, khalas, we can say bye-bye to everyone. Isn't that Yusuf? Khalas, it's done.
This is, generally, there's a couple of sort of wajib things to do, but this is the key. This is just on the Arafah we mentioned, it's important. The reason we make this point is, again, it's from experience, is that people say, I need to go and stand on Mount Arafah. So you're going to try and stand with a couple of million people on 45 to 50 degree heat on a little hill that's about 30 meters in diameter at the most. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ didn't stand on it. Even the last sermon, he was on top of his camel when he gave his last sermon, and then he stepped down to make some of the dua. But there's no thing about you need to be on Mount Arafah. There's no extra asanat. It's not in the Sunnah. And if you do go off to do it, then we're expecting that you'll do the rest of the Hajj journey on your own. You'll know how to do everything else, because you won't catch to the group until we get back to the tents, inshallah.
So we mentioned, people always ask these questions, is dua. Can you give us dua? Book, can you give us dua? I think that there's no prescribed dua when it comes to making dua from your heart. We can give booklets of dua. We can pass on, Sheikh.
Yeah.
We've got dua books we can give you.
We'll send a PDF. I'll send a
we'll send you a
PDF.
PDF of valuable dua book that and really gives you the state of dua. For us, it's more about the state of your dua, the state that you're in, more than dua itself. You know, so what state should I be in? You know, in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what types of dua will put me in that state as well. So we'll give you a dua book, but like we mentioned, there's no prescribed. It's the most important thing. It comes out of your heart, and that's what Allah wants to hear. You know, so we've got Muzdalifah. So the day after Arafah, inshallah. So usually after Maghrib, most people they're starting to leave, whether it's by bus or walking. They're going to Muzdalifah. So in Muzdalifah, we're praying our Maghrib and Isha there, and then we're staying till Fajr, pretty much. And this is the place where we're collecting the pebbles, we're collecting the stones, and like it mentioned at the bottom of that screen, we need to have 7 on the first day, and then we have 21, 21, and 7, 7, 7 each of the days, depending if you're doing the 13th or not. So like we said, keep your meals light. This is the place where you're sleeping under 1,000 stars. And this is, make sure you're with the group leader. You don't do anything without the group leader knowing about it. So you're not misplaced and you're not separated from the group. We always take our, like we mentioned, the 1 or 2 liter hydrating bottle, which is going to be handy the next day specifically. Light snacks that you might need on this trip as well. But you're just sleeping and resting this night, which is a ibadah, also following in the footsteps of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A lot of times they've mentioned that getting up from Muzdalifah is like we're getting up to Yawm al-Qiyamah, when we get up to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Jamarat, so the next day, so the Muzdalifah will be moving after Fajr to go to Mina straight away. And Mina will be resting. Whether the rest will be half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, will all be dependent on how the group is performing and how the weather is and how the group dynamics are going. So we're definitely going to have a break when we reach Mina after Muzdalifah. And then from there, we'll be walking towards doing the Jamarat, which is just the Jamarat al-Kubra, which is the Aqaba, Jamarat al-Aqaba. And that's where we will be walking straight through the small, medium, and getting straight to the big Jamarat. We throw just 7 stones there, and just make sure, you know, you're not chucking stones at the back of people's heads. Be courteous and considerate of the people around you. We've seen it many times that people sometimes they think the shaitan is Yusuf or something in front of them, and they're like, take it easy.
They're aiming for me.
He wasn't that bad, you know.
Just as a reminder, though, too, for on this point, Hani, it's good thing you mentioned that. Is that, and we'll go through this, and the Sheikh will go through this again, especially on the day. We'll remind everybody. You'll find that sometimes when you're walking through and you're coming towards the Jamarat there, if we go around to the side and we walk, because everybody's coming in one direction, then they see the Jamarat, everybody sort of lines up and piles up to throw the Jamarat. But if you just go around the Jamarat and come to the other side, because it's a circle.
This is insider tips, this one.
It's inside like a circle. If you go to the other side, it's totally empty. You can walk right up to the front, throw your Jamarat quick, and then keep moving. But nobody realizes that until they go past and they're like, oh, there was a thing there. And then for some reason they forget and they go to the front of the next one as well. So we'll be doing that. We'll go around a bit to the side and come around to the back, and we can throw the Jamarat away from everybody else. And just to be quicker.
It's like when you're going to immigration, and the first line you see, that's all you can see in front of you. Everyone just, you know, packs that one, but doesn't realize if you walk a bit further down, it's empty, and you can actually get through the immigration very quickly. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. So that's pretty much, so the Jamarat is pretty much that first day is the 7, and then the next 2 days specifically, we'll be going through all the Jamarat 7, 7, 7. And then on the people who stay the 13th, will have to continue and take extra pebbles for that day. Make sure you have them. Now, just one quick thing. So in terms of, can separation happen during these rituals? Yes, highly likely. I know on my first Hajj, when I was with my wife, we got separated after Mina. We started walking towards the Jamarat al-Kubra. I had mentioned to her, if we get lost, stay with the group. Don't look for me. Stay with the group, with the Jama'ah. Don't look for me. And specifically, if ladies are together, right, they should stay chained together and go through that walk together as well. there's a high chance to get separated through the couple of million people that Jamarat happens, right, amongst doing the Umrah as well. So is there a high expectation to get separated? Yes. Do you need to take steps to avoid to keep yourself safe and avoid any problems? Yes. And that's why we say always have your chain to at least one other person, right? Specifically the women, and always follow the group. We're going to have obviously flags and different things to stand out, but you know, you're in amongst millions of people. We're not, if you get separated, the group's not going to wait in 2 million. We'll get trampled on. We have to continue, and you have to continue. That's why studying and knowing what to do, inshallah, will get you through that. And inshallah, after that, you will all go, after Jamratul Kubra, we'll be all going to the hotels after that. Is that right, Yusuf?
After, you're talking about on the
After
first day?
Jamrat Kubra.
No. After on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the people in the Millennium and Ibis have that option, if the road is open, that they can go to, and then they can go from there to do their Tawaf al-Ifada. But as a group, we'll be going back to the Mina camp.
Yeah.
But definitely, yes, the Millennium people.
We'll be talking about those specific logistical issues about.
Yeah, we'll talk about each package logistical
traveling.
things.
Yeah,
specifically.
Exactly what we'll do from each of them, but this is more just practical tips.
Yeah.
Of what to do after that. So after we've done we've chucked the pebbles, and then basically the last thing after that is we're doing the Tawaf al-Wada', which is the last thing before you leave to go back home. The last thing usually you do that, say, maybe 18 hours before you're leaving, give or take, and then you leave pretty much the next day or the end of that day, and then that will be the end of it, inshallah.
Yeah, I might just change the page I'm sharing.
Yeah.
To this one. Let me just change it to the song about what you're mentioning now. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this document we put onto the
make it a bit bigger.
The group. Yep, I can.
Yeah, it's good.
We put it onto the group for everyone. So as Hani mentioned, in the Hajj days, we're starting off in Mina on the 8th. And the 8th, and I said this on the group as well, the 8th to the 13th currently corresponds to the 4th of June to the 9th of June. So the 8th being the 4th, the 9th being the 5th. So the 10th being the 6th. Yeah. So we're going to be in our hotels putting the ihram, and then Arafah Muzdalifah. We'll go and collect the pebbles, and we'll recite the talbiyah, and then we will leave to go to Mina on the 10th and do the Jamrat, and then go back. And the good thing about this is once we've done the first Jamrat, as Hani mentioned, and we've heard the news of the Udhiyah being done, the sacrifice being done, and we can cut our hair. Okay. We are then out of the ihram clothes. We are then out of ihram, except for intimate relations between husband and wife. You can wear normal clothes for the men, and you can wash with any type of soap and thing that you like. Okay. So the whole issue of ihram and unscented soap and all this sort of thing only applies for 1.5 days. So from Mina, from when we leave the hotel, you'll have a shower with as much soap and shampoo and detergent and Dettol and vinegar, whatever you want, in Mina. And we'll go to the camp, and we're not really doing anything that day. We're just going to be sitting in the tent and doing ibadah. The next day is Arafah. That's a big day. And then the next morning, we go and do the Jamrat. And by midday, or 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, we're out of ihram, the clothes, so to speak, or that aspect of ihram. And you can start washing and showering. You can wash and shower all you want on the 9th as well, and on the 8th. You're just using water or unscented things. But the sunnah is just to use water. Don't go torturing yourself about unscented soaps and all these sorts of things, and making life difficult for yourself. You know, focus on your ibadah, because like I said, it's 1 night, 2 nights. That's it. And the next morning, depending what the udhiyah will start in the morning. So usually by 10, 11 o'clock, we know it's done. And then you're out. You can go and have a shower. You can do what you like. You're in your normal clothes. Shower with soap and things like that. And then that evening, as Brother Hani mentioned, we'll go and do the Tawaf al-Ifada or Tawaf al-Ziyara, as it's called. And you can do it on the 10th, you can do it on the 11th, you can do it on the 12th. It's very easy because you're in normal clothes now. But in any case, on the 11th, definitely we'll go and do Jamrat, stoning. And on the 12th, definitely we will do Jamrat, stoning. Okay. And the bulk of the group, as you mentioned, the bulk of the group, in fact, as a whole, will generally leave before Maghrib on the 12th and go back to the hotel. Okay. For those that want to stay and do the stoning on the 13th, of Dhul Hijjah, you're welcome to stay overnight in Medina and in Mina and do that. You'll throw the stones on the 13th, and they'll be transported to take you back to the hotel. So there's transport on the 12th and on the 13th, whoever wants to go back to the hotel. And this will come up. There's specifics about walking, bus, and things like that. We'll go through in the logistics meeting, inshallah, that's coming up. Generally, we will leave in the middle of the night or early night, Fajr time, to go to Mina. There's an option to go by bus. But honestly, it's quicker to walk the 40 minutes before it gets hot, straight to Mina, than sit in a bus for an hour and a bit. It's so frustrating to be sitting just in a bus crawl pace when you can walk. But that's up to you.
And that's one thing we found last year is that some people, after they'd been in the bus, they'd said, you know what, me spending 2-3 hours in the bus, I could have just walked and it took me 40 minutes.
Yeah, you get to the hotel, you get to the Mina tent, your bed is there, you can wash and change.
So
There's
I would definitely
food, there's drink.
prepare everyone to think I'm going to walk with the option of bus, with everything, you know, especially because all our hotels are conveniently within walking distance. So that's one thing the Islamic travel, alhamdulillah, packages have. They're not like 6, 7, 8 kilometers away like a lot of the Aziziyah hotels that they offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So I'll just go back to the other screen then. Sorry, I'll just change the screen again. You find it here. So we're going to very briefly go through just some, like the packing list, you can read it. We don't need to go through point by point the packing list, but it's certain things that you do need to be aware of. I've got here. So for the ladies, Ihram is very easy. Alhamdulillah. Ihram is very easy for ladies. Just wear your normal clothes. But what's comfortable, what's light, it's comfortable for you that you can pray in. Okay. And you're wearing layers, it's better for you. In terms of particular layers issues, you've got another meeting. I think it's next week. I can't remember the date, but you'll be able to ask any specific questions for ladies. For the men, we've got some examples of shoes here. This is always a hot topic. What kind of shoes? So we're covering like your thongs, your sandals, these type of sandals. These sandals, these white ones here, if you're going to Mina, they're available in Mina for like $4. But if you're going to use those, maybe for the first Umrah, that's fine. Okay. But we recommend to get comfortable shoes for the Hajj days, because in the Umrah, you're only going to be wearing the sandals for a few hours. You know, you wear on the train, traveling, you're not really walking there. And then you wear it when you go to Haram to do your Tawaf, say, and do your Umrah, and then you're out of it and you can turf them. Okay. Or keep them as a backup pair. But for Hajj days, the Mina, Arafah, Muzdalifah, back and forth to the Jamarat, that's when you want to have a comfortable pair of walking shoes, like Ihram compliant, for you. I just got a pair like this, but not like this, but I bought it at Kmart. It's a material type one. It's not rubber, and so it doesn't cause any blisters. Although you can put Band-Aids on under your feet if you're worried about getting blisters. So just keep that in mind for the brothers. Have comfortable walking shoes and have a any cheap one is fine for the Umrah. If you lose shoes, you break your shoes, there are shops in Mina, by the way. I don't know if you know, there are shops in Mina. You can buy things there. Food is all covered, but you can buy, there's ice cream shops, there's food shops, there's takeaway shops, but there's also
Bin Dawood as well.
It's a Bin Dawood, but it's like but specifically, well, if we're in the same place where we were last year in the Mina camp, there's like, I don't know what you call it. It's like a $2 shop. It's like one of the shops. It's got bric-a-brac. It's got everything. It's got tasbih, it's got Quran, it's got sandals, it's got counters, it's got scarves, all these sorts of things. You can buy it there. It's like, it was about 25 meters, 30 meters from the tents.
There's no acai there. So if
there's
you
no
acai, you're not going to find it.
Yeah, there's no acai. So, but key things for the brother, bring some Vaseline or anti-chafing cream, as the doctor said last time. Make sure your sandals are Ihram compliant. When you're not in Ihram, then obviously anything goes, whatever's comfortable and easy to wear. In terms of the heat, When you're not in ihram, we definitely recommend that you have either a kafia, like like the Palestinian, the scarf, the red and black or red and white or black and white scarf, and a hat, because that really helps to cover when you're covering your head with that. It's loose, and you've got an umbrella, so because it also covers your neck. So have comfortable walking shoes. For the sisters particularly, bring a hat. You can wear a hat during ihram, everything like this. Please, please, please bring a hat, a wide-rimmed hat, and you'll get umbrellas there, so you'll have umbrellas. They're key things from the packing list that we've got. And as Brother Hani mentioned, the other key point here is a power bank. It's very important that you have a source of power for your phone when you're walking. There are power points in Mina. Obviously, there's power points in the hotel. This is the type of socket. It's important for everyone to know. So if you can go to Kmart or you can go somewhere, you can buy something, a socket like this. And then what we recommend is you bring a power board. So you bring like an Australian power board, it's like an extension board cable with like 4 Australian power sockets. You plug that into the back of this, and you've now got 4 sockets for your laptop, iPad, phones, whatever it is. And instead of 4 people in a room trying to use one plug, you can just use this power board for everyone to share. You can put another power board into one. You've now got 8 sockets. Okay. There are a number of plugs in the room, but this is the type of sockets they use in Saudi. And bring a power board to attach into this. This is very important. And the power bank to charge your phone. These are cheap. You can buy them, starting from about $30 anywhere in JB Hi-Fi or whatever it is. So that way, if it's fully charged when we're leaving Medina, or we're leaving, the hotel to go to Mina, even though there's a socket in the Mina tents, once we go to Arafah, you have your power bank to be able to charge your phone to give you a full charge again until we come back to Mina to be able to charge up your phones and things like that. Okay. The other thing to remember, for those that just can't go without using soaps or shampoos and just using water only, then you have to have an unscented shampoo and soap. There have been many. You can go to any chemist warehouse, and you can ask them, and you'll see it says they're unscented on this, on that, and you can take those. Some of these are provided for you for the days of Hajj, okay, but they're not going to be provided in time for you to get when you're going to do your Umrah, if that's important. As we said, you're only in Ihram for 6-7 hours for Umrah. The time it takes to travel and the time it takes to do the Umrah itself. At the hotels in Medina, and there are Binda wood shops very close. The supermarkets, like a Woolies or Coles supermarket, everywhere. Okay, so you can go through all of the medications that you need, or the shopping list there. Sorry, at your own pace. What's important to you, take it. If it's not, don't take it. But definitely power bank, power socket, adapter, hat for everybody, or at the minimum a kafia for the men, scarf for the men, so that you have that taken care of, inshallah. We'll go to just in terms of health and well-being, the walking and things like that. So vaccinations, I'm assuming by now everybody started getting their vaccinations, or they're making appointments to get their vaccinations. They're going to the doctor to get the pharmacies for the vaccinations. So please have that done. We can't help you if you get to the airport if you're not vaccinated. Okay, so that's a requirement. You need to do that, inshallah. Pack your essentials. Pack electrolytes. Okay, pack sun protection. The sun in Saudi is not as harsh as the sun in Australia. It's hot, but it's not as harsh in terms of burning you in a like melanoma sort of cancer type way. But it is hot. But if you suffer from this issue, have sun protection. Particularly if you're going to be using it while you're doing Umrah or Hajj, you need to make sure it hasn't got any type of scent. But if it's a medicinal type thing, you'll be fine with my sun protections. Vaseline, sweat protection. If you think you're going to be worried about diarrhea or constipation, you can bring some laxative diaries. You can buy these there as well. Definitely, we suggest get your electrolytes in Australia, and any cold and flu type tablets, get it in Australia. It's much cheaper here. And any supplements that you want to take.
See, this is sorry.
Yeah.
This is number 7, guys. If you just follow this, you don't have to get overwhelmed, because there's a lot of stuff that's out there. That's like you need to get these 100 different things and you get that and whatever, and it can be overwhelming. Just simplify things.
Yeah.
Electrolytes, you know, you get sun protection, you get some cream for sweat protection thing, laxatives like you mentioned, cold and flu like you mentioned, most important thing. And continue your vitamins. Your vitamins should be before that and continuing on anyway. And just band-aids or straps for blisters.
Yep.
That inshallah should get you through the
It suffice, yeah.
Inshallah.
And then there's like a bit of a graphic here. People sort of learn visually that's there. It's telling you the same thing. Stay hydrated. Keep the shade, dress appropriately. Very, very important things we have to touch on is the walking program. Okay, we've got about 6 weeks or 5.5 weeks to go. So 40 odd days. But please, if you can't, even if you can't get up to 18,000, 15,000, 20,000 steps, you know, at the minimum, you need to be doing 5, 6, 10,000 steps a few days a week. Okay. If you can follow this program, it's a suggestion. You go at your own pace at a comfortable and safe pace. 5,000 steps. You're probably doing that already anyway. You know, if people go to work by public transport and you work in the office and you're walking around the office, if you walk down the street to go to the shop, if you walk near your office to go to a place to pray, you're probably doing 5,000 steps, nothing. You're probably doing that anyway.
I think the important thing as well is that you got to realize you might be standing up for long periods of time. So I think it's not just steps, it's being able to stand and not sit down for long periods of time as well.
Yeah.
But it's also maybe try and do your walking in the middle of the day. Like now it's not as hot, obviously, as thing, but when it's closer to the hotter part of the day, it might sort of get you prepared a little bit for what's to come.
Yeah, yeah. And just by doing these minimum steps, you're going to be upright. You're going to be moving your hips, moving your knees, moving your legs, getting those muscles moving so that it's not a shock to the system. If you're sedentary and sitting down all the time, you know, here.
Especially those people, that are going to be walking with me. I love walking. So if you're going to be with me, you better start practicing from now.
Yes. So you want to get up your walking steps. If you follow this, you're good to go, inshallah. You know, there's rest days in there. Walk on the footpath, walk in the park, walk on the grass, different terrains. It says here, especially for the footwear you're wearing during the Hajj days. So for the brothers, remember, you're going to be wearing the sandals or ihram type shoes only for a couple of days, right? And once when we go to the Jamrat and back. But that is a big day. That 10th is a big day of walking. Okay? But then after that, you can wear your normal shoes. So if you're wearing in shoes, if you're buying new shoes, wear them both in here in Australia. Okay. So break in your shoes, and for the sisters, of course, as well. If you're buying new shoes, start wearing them here a couple of times a week, just so you're not suddenly wearing them so much and you're going to get blisters. Stay hydrated, sipping water while you're walking, getting used to that. Walk in the daytime, so you can you get used to walking in the warmer time. And it's a good idea to walk with a light backpack on, just to get your body used to feeling that you've got something on your back while you're walking, because we're going to be doing that during the Hajj days. Yeah? And walk. This shows a picture of stairs, but walk where there's a little bit of a hill up and down to get used to doing that, build up your stamina, because it's not flat all the way. It's reasonably flat, but you know, Saudi is hills. Mecca and Medina are hills. So there are going to be inclines, there are going to be rough terrain and things like that where you have to walk. So the key takeaways from tonight's meeting is those tips that Handy went through, and putting those tips into your mind based on the talks about how we're going to do Hajj. And the video is available. The link is online on our group, and it's on our YouTube page. You can watch the Hajj video again. Sheikh Naeem's going to do the Umrah video, so that these things now work in tandem with that talk. So particularly next week when Sheikh Naeem is doing his talk, have these tips, these Umrah tips handy with you. So when he talks about the different aspects of Tawaf, you can reference this. When he talks about the Sunnah Raka, when he talks about the Zamzam, when he talks about Sa'i, you have something, okay, I understand what this means. I understand I can correlate those two things together. And then same thing, if you're watching the Hajj video again, go through the Hajj days, these tips. This is all on the WhatsApp group. That one page journey map is on the WhatsApp group there. One or two other things quickly, because I know we're pressed for time. Please read the room. I'm not going to go through it, but please read the room sharing etiquettes. You are going to be sharing a room with strangers potentially, and they also apply. Partly, they also apply to the Mina, because even if you're in a twin room with your husband or wife or somebody you're coming with, but you're going to be sharing with other people, and a lot of people, in Mina and Arafah. So the same rules apply generally. Okay.
The common problems are always people staying in the bathroom too long.
Mm.
You know,
Making a mess with the water.
Leaving their bathroom wet after they've gone in and leaving the whole place flooded.
Yep.
So consider to dry it up or get the housekeeping to come and help you with that.
Yeah.
So just remember, anything
and
happens in your
space.
hotel,
Yeah.
anything happens in your hotel, you don't call your group leader or anything like that. You call the hotel concierge, or you call housekeeping, or you call reception. Hey, my phone isn't working. Hey, the tap is not working. There's a leak. I don't know, I need a bed sheet. Whatever. This is where your communication should be happening, not with your group leader.
So before we go into questions, and we'll start with the questions that are on the chat, and then we'll go to hands up. Hani, you just want to go through this?
Yeah,
this part? We want people to read this, but
yeah. So just a quick highlight, like we've mentioned, even with the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was asked what's an accepted Hajj or a righteous Hajj, he said to feed the poor and say a nice word. So subhanallah, we look at this deep meaning that pretty much what we're doing for Hajj, it's about what we do for other people more than what we're doing for ourselves. So I think we should all be really internalize and reflect that the many things that we can do, this list can be exhausted. You can have 100 of these, right? Beneficial actions. But these are just some things that we know are practical during Hajj that can you really focus on, because everything else we've talked about today is mainly about what you should do for yourself. Ana, nafsi, nafsi, nafsi. Most of what we've talked about. So this is about what should I be doing for other people, where the measure of your Hajj is basically what you're doing for other people. So we know some of these are common etiquette, like, you know, putting a smile is charity, you know, giving salams to strangers, you know, like sometimes in the West where we overthink, it's like when I used to work in the Middle East for a long time, when teaching Arabic there, and a lot of students used to come, Western students used to come from overseas, and they used to say, how can I have the same social decorum as the Arabs? And we said, just by overthinking, it creates that sort of curtain to connect the hearts. What's that mean? Oh, maybe he's busy, I won't give salams to him. Maybe he's doing something and whatever, I'll sit down next to him for the next hour till he finishes. There's nothing wrong with giving salam. Assalamu alaikum, brother, sister, how are you? Get to know who they are. Where are they from? You know, all this is about connecting the hearts, you know, help others. There's a lot of times you'll find people, they don't have stones. I remember when I was going for my jamarat and I got lost for my wife, I didn't have any jamarat on me. I lost my jamarat. Subhanallah, within 2 minutes, people had gathered to me and said, oh, brother, here, I've got lots of extra jamarat. Here, you take these stones. And subhanallah, that camaraderie in that ukhuwah, that brotherhood and sisterhood is what you see in Hajj. The more you can do this, the more you'll get the fruits of Hajj. You'll find people who are sick where you can assist. You'll find people who need a helping hand. You can carry their back. You can see through all this. Like we mentioned before, Zamzam, give cups of water, Zamzam to other people. Pick up bottles. When you're getting bottles for yourself, get bottles for people around you first. You know, talk to people from different countries, you know, all this sort of thing. The prayer of the funeral prayer, you're praying for the other people, and inshallah, you're getting sawab, but you're making dua for that person that Allah forgives them and lightens their adab or anything like that. Complimenting, saying a nice word, giving charity should be something that we should definitely be vigilant of when we're there, where Rasulullah mentioned it, feed the poor, attending halakas, forgiving people for actions, you know, having spite or argumentation or getting angry. This is not the place for it to happen. So I'm sure you guys can read through this and see all the different things. I definitely encourage you to read through one by one and internalize and reflect what you can do in your own way, whether it's following these or doing other things. This is what really the meaning of Hajj is, really what it's all about. The more we can connect, the more we can be humble in humility and show humility in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, always thinking the best of other people, right? Always thinking that person, maybe he looks a certain way. Maybe, you know, she's wearing hijab new or whatever. It doesn't mean you're better than them. It just means Allah changes hearts in moments. Allah can make them the closest to Him more than you've ever done in your life. And like I mentioned the other day, Imam Ibn Ata'illah al-Iskandari, famous scholar from Egypt who's from Alexandria and was buried in Cairo, he mentioned it's better to hang around, to be around people who, when they do wrong, they feel shame and they feel embarrassment in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they feel remorse, than someone who's proud of what they do and have arrogance for good things that they do. So being humble and humility, no matter what person looks like or what they're doing or not doing, we can always, our character is on show throughout the whole of the Hajj. So reflecting, making sure we're not speaking about someone behind their back. This can destroy your whole Hajj, your whole Umrah. So really reflect, reach out to the people, reach out to your family on Eid and things like that. And I think that's probably enough that we could go through. People can definitely look through that in their own time. And just if I could, before I'll close up after you mention some things about the hotels and stuff. But like you mentioned, just to summarize for myself, is that pace yourself. Your aim is Hajj. Don't exert yourself. Listen to the guides. Listen to the guides. Be patient. Expect the worst. Expect that you're going to walk a lot. Expect you're going to walk a lot. Be vigilant of the heat. So stay hydrated. Stay in shade. Keep umbrellas handy. Keep bottles of water handy. Spray bottles handy. You know? And these are the general things, just to know that end of the day, we're here to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and through tests and patience there is reward, and Allah is there to purify us, inshallah, to get closer to Him and come change people when we come back, inshallah.
On this document, the last page is showing you the hotels. If you click on any of the hotels, it'll take you to an information page about that hotel. And then you can scroll down to the bottom and it's got the details about what shops are close. But it's got like laundry, hospital, grocery store, food. I think you can click on it and it shows you on Google Map where that is in the vicinity of your hotel. So that's just a ready reference for you to use. And it's got obviously it's the hotel name and it's got the package that it relates to. So if you're in any of these packages, that's one of the hotels you'll be using in either Mecca or Medina. You can use that for yourself. So I'll go through the questions. I'll go through the chat first quickly, and then we'll go to the hands, just for the ones that are there.
Okay.
So let me just go up.
One other thing I've got to expect, we don't want this to happen, but in Hajj, because there's millions of people, there's an expectation to be separated from the group, right? So being separated can be something that happens quite often. But the more you listen and follow the guiding, the less this will happen. But it can happen a lot of times. Just be aware of that. And then Brother Yusuf is going to mention about the pins for locations and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we going to Umrah together? Yes. When we first get there, you'll be going with your group. But as Brother Hani mentioned, it's possible you'll get separated. So you need to make your own way back to the hotel. So we're going to be sending out actually screenshots on how to share your location and use the location on an Apple iPhone and on an Android phone. But most people know how to do it, but some people don't. So that everyone can learn how to do that. That way you can use your phone GPS to find your way back. And this is why we said it's so important. Everybody has to get a SIM card when they're in Saudi. We don't want to hear about, I have roaming, I have this and that. You're going to have areas where you're going to not have proper connectivity with roaming just because of the crowds and the weight in the system. But you can buy a SIM card. You've just spent in excess of $13,500 for a Hajj trip. Another $20 SIM card is not going to make a difference. So get the SIM card. That way you've got call access and you've got full internet access with lots of data. So you can find your hotel, you can find the campsite, you can find things if you get separated. But we will be going as a group for the Umrahs, particularly when we arrive on that first Umrah that we're going to do into Mecca. You'll be leaving with the group and doing it as a group together, inshallah. Question about riyals. It's best to get riyals when you're there. If you want to get some here, you can, but just don't get a lot because you don't get a good rate in Australia. Can we do Umrah on our own when we arrive? You can. If you've done Umrah before and you want to, you can. Just be mindful of the things to be aware of that we've mentioned here. Any printed materials? If we're going to send a book of du'as, it was a du'a book written. It's a compilation of du'as written by a sheikh who loved du'a. In fact, he died in front of the Kaaba making du'a. It's not prescribed dua per you do this dua here, do this dua here. It's duas that he's written. Well, most of it comes from the Quran because they're the best duas, or duas of the Prophet ﷺ that he's made. And it's just to give you some inspiration as to what duas you want to make while you're on Hajj and Umrah. We'll put that document onto the WhatsApp group. Someone's going alone. Many people are going alone, and that's why we said you're going to be paired up. You're going to be in a room with other people. You're going to make friends. You're going to make companions, and you'll connect. And once you're connected with your guide in your package groups, you'll be able to communicate with other people in that group if you want to connect with them before the journey starts, inshallah. If anyone prefers multiple umrahs, do you have to? Yes. So if you want to do additional umrahs, you do need to put on a haram again, and you need to go to the miqat, Masjid Aisha, to make the intention and then come back in. Okay, so you need to do that. You'll have to get a taxi or a bus, a taxi or a shuttle service to go out there, and you just negotiate with the drivers. Will there be a guide with us on the day? So if you're talking about the Umrah day, yes. If you're talking about the Hajj days, yes. We are with you. On the days in between, the quiet days, you can come and go as you please, inshallah, but we'll be there. Is it safe to keep behind valuables or non-valuable items in Mina tent when we are in Muzdalifah? Yes. Firstly, in the first instance, you should not, other than we're talking about money you need to take or credit cards, you need to take your passports, you need to take, you should not be taking excess valuables or jewelry. Why? We're not going to be dressing up for anybody. We're not going to a wedding. So excess jewelry, excess valuables, you don't need. But money, your wallet, your things like that, yes. Well, your wallet and your passport you'll keep with you. You should keep with you on all times. But if there's any excess, like the excess clothes that you're not going to take just for the days of Arafah, you can leave it on your bed. We've never had a problem with things like this. So it's safe. You leave it on your bed because you'll come back to the same bed in Mina, inshallah. Couch, actually. It's like a sofa couch. You'll come back to that safe couch. You can leave it there. But anything that you don't need for those few days, and we'll be talking about this a number of times, leave it in the hotel. You can leave it locked in your bag in the hotel. You'll have the key to your hotel and you can leave it there. Inshallah. But we do recommend people to keep you need to have your phone, you need to have your money with you, generally, at all times. You can leave your passport locked in your bag or in your safe. Personally, I keep my passport with me at all times. Okay, so you'll have access when nobody's taking your passport, like in the old days when you went to Hajj, your passport was taken and was given back to you at the end of Hajj. You will keep and you are responsible for your passport throughout the journey, inshallah. Are we walking from Muzdalifah to thing? I put the thing up and it's on the page there. It says there's bus or walk. We prefer to walk, to be honest, because it ends up being quicker than going by bus. And it's probably about like an hour, 50-minute walk at the most from Muzdalifah to Mina. It's about 4 kilometers. Okay, so 10,000 steps. Somebody's asked, 10,000 steps is generally about 7 to 8 kilometers in walking. Okay, so if you're doing that walking chart, if you can get yourself to 10,000 steps every day, that's fantastic. You're doing well, inshallah. The only thing you then have to contend with is the heat of what's happening. Is it mandatory to stay in Mina camp third of the night for all 3 nights in the Mina camp? It depends on the madhab that you're following. So it's a sunnah in the Hanafi school. It's a wajib in the others. Okay. So depending on the package you're on, you can speak to us individually about any things that you want to do. But you need to stay. It is a sunnah to stay in Mina during the days, and it's wajib in the other madhabs, inshallah.
If you want to measure, like the doctor said the other day, he said, he was doing in the Hajj days about 30 kilometers of walking. So if you want to measure,
no, 30,000 steps.
30 was it 30,000 steps?
Yeah, 30,000 steps.
Okay.
Yeah, 30,000 steps, which is probably about 16, 20 kilometers.
That was only for that one day.
Yeah, it's only one day.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about throughout the whole 5 days of walking.
Oh, yeah, it adds up, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Another question: can we leave things in Mina tent? Yes, we can. We said that. So you don't have to take excess things to Arafah. You can leave it there by your bed. Can we get a copy of the presentation? This presentation is on the WhatsApp group. It's the document that's on our WhatsApp group, Hajj Practical Tips. It's there.
We gave it to you 2 days before, so you
Yep,
can go through it.
There's no communication coming from Umrah for you folks regarding the arrangements for day one, logistics, room arrangements, room upgrades. Brother, I think I've spoken to you about this. This is something, day one logistics. We're not going to talk about day one logistics anytime before the logistics meeting. That's definitely not going to happen because it's not necessary now. The room arrangements, we haven't done the room list because I haven't asked anybody yet for which room, who they want to share with in the rooms. We're going to be asking you about your preferences if you're going with friends or family or things like that. You can put a preference that you want to share a room with them, and that will happen after the room upgrades. Currently, room upgrades aren't happening because we are still in what's called the Mujamala stage. Okay, Mujamala stage means there are still Hajj packages being sold, not by us, not by Rawaf, not by Nusuk to the general public, but it's generally, now this is government to government. Okay, so the excess quota that's still left there, governments, embassies, departments, like for example, the corresponding defense department in the country has their counterpart in the defense department in Saudi. They're arranging visa for them. The person in the foreign affairs department in a country has a corresponding person in the foreign affairs department. All these people are doing their Hajjs now. Okay? So all these excess rooms are being filled up. Once it's done and dusted, and the hotel says, okay, we've got a 500-room hotel, and I've got 110 rooms available. Now I can offer those for those people that want upgrades. When that happens in early May, then we will offer those rooms to everyone, and it'll be first come, first serve. If you take those rooms, then we'll know what rooms are available, what rooms people are in. Only then can I make the room arrangements for you to put you in your rooms. And only then can I communicate it to you to give you that information. Day one logistics, generally you're going to arrive in the airport, we're going to take you to the hotel. That's the logistics. If you're arriving in Medina airport, you'll go through the Rawaf person there. They'll check you, identify you, tick you off, put you on the bus. It's what's normally a 15-minute ride to the Medina hotel, probably be an hour because of the traffic, but you'll come to the Medina hotel, and there you'll meet your guide and you'll be checked into your room, inshallah. If you're arriving into Yanbu airport, which is for Medina as well, same thing. You'll get identified, they'll tick you off to make sure you're on the right package, the right place, this and that. They will take you from there to your hotel, your specific hotel. That's about a 2-hour drive. And you'll be checked into your hotel. You'll meet your guide. You'll meet the group. You'll meet your other roommates there, if you're sharing a room, that is. If you're in your own room with your family, then you're in your own room, and you'll be checked in. In Medina, it's just getting to your hotel room, getting in, getting some rest, having dinner, or depending on what time you arrive, because breakfast and dinner is provided, and resting. There's nothing to do on the first day but rest because we've just come off this long flight. The next day, there's going to be ziyaras and things like that. We'll go through those things. If you're arriving in Jeddah and you're going to Medina first, you will get off the plane. There's 44 people going to on the Emirates flights that are going to Jeddah. We'll all be there together on one bus, go to Medina. If you want to go by train, the train needs to be booked, okay, at 3 hours, minimum 3 to 4 hours after arrival. So if you arrive at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, they're not going to give you a train until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, okay, to allow for any delays on the plane. But if you're not delayed and you get there on time and you're out of immigration at 1 o'clock, you have to sit in the airport for 3 hours. For the rest of us, we'll be on a bus, and in 4 hours, we hope to be in Medina, inshallah. But otherwise, then you'll get on the train for 2 hours, come to Medina, and then have to get on another bus to go.
And I think that's one thing we should reiterate as well, that there's always the expectation that there might be spending a lot of time in buses when going between hotels, when going between rituals. So that expectation, just keep it at the back of your mind. Inshallah, it doesn't happen, but 3-4 hours could be the norm.
Yep.
10 hours sometimes, Allah. But yeah.
Between Mecca and Medina, so if you're traveling, if you're in Mina first package and we're going from Medina to Mecca, you're going by train. And our bags will go by truck. Because the other thing is, if you're coming and planning to go by train from the airports, if your bags are too big, they won't let you on. Okay? So there's a very strict size limit on the trains. For anybody, some people have asked me, can I just make my own arrangements? I don't want to go by bus from Jeddah airport to Mecca. Well, then you're going to be doing Umrah on your own because the group's going to arrive at a different time. you can do that. But if your bag size is too big, they won't let you on the train with your bag. Then now you have to try and get a taxi if you've missed the bus.
One thing is,
so all of these things we will cover through. All of these things we will go through, but we'll go through at a time when we know that it's ready to give that information.
Yeah,
very important to understand this.
Just reiterate, like logistics, we'll be having a meeting just for that. So people are asking how I'm meeting my guide, which airport, which bus. This is not the meeting for it.
Because following that logistics, we have questions and answers. There's plenty of time to give. But like I said, we can't even give you the room things because they haven't finished selling the rooms. So please understand, we're not hiding information. We're not keeping information. We're giving it as we get it, as it becomes available conclusively. Because we don't want to give you info and then change it again on you. Okay. The document is on there. It's shared on the group. It's been done. Can we list the group packages? Makeup of the group packages, people who can connect. Yes, you'll be grouped with your guide. As I mentioned on the WhatsApp group, Nusuk is putting people in their guides, assigning guides. Last year they were all wrong. This year there's some of them already wrong. So we're going to give you, once we get the final breakdown from Rawaf, because we have the people that are with Islamic Travel, but there are also people that have booked that don't have any guides, and they're being assigned to us. They're depending on their package, and we're going to put our guides appropriately. Then we'll make a separate WhatsApp group for you and all the people in your package and your guide. Okay, so, and myself and Han will be on there as well. So you'll have a group, and then you'll be able to see everybody in your group. You can communicate with each other. If there's, you can have discussions in chats. You can share phone numbers, things like that. You'll be able to do that within your group and your guide. Inshallah. The Qurban, yes. This weekend, there's quite a few links going to be coming up to everybody. Good question about the Qurban, Adahi. I'm going to be sending a form for any medical, health or medical practitioners that wish to volunteer their expertise or support or time for the Hujjaj. You can let us know. You're not providing medical service other than really some consultation or some first aid is needed, because you can't really practice there, but it's just to have a contact source for people. So those medical practitioners, professionals that wish to fill out the form, please do so. I'm going to be sending out the link to the Adahi Udhiya official government Saudi website. I think they've started taking now bookings and payments for Hadi from the pilgrims. So now we can send it out. You'll be able to use it. There's no point for me to send it. Some people will be able to book, and then some people it was falling over. It wasn't accepting. We've tested it. It's working for now, and it definitely will be working into May. But you can then pay for. You can select your. I think there's about 8 different choices of sacrifice you can choose for your Qurban, for your Hadi. You can choose the one you want, and you pay for it, paying directly to them, no extra fees, things like that. And that link will come out to you this weekend as well. And then very soon, another link, because we're talking about links, a link is going to come from Rawaf, asking about your preferences or our preferences as a group in terms of what day do we want to go to Mina? Do we want to go on the 8th to Mina, or do we want to go on the 9th to Arafah? Do we want to leave? Are we staying until the 12th day or the 13th day? I will send through a PDF document on our suggested answers that we're going to do as a group. Okay, but you have the free option to choose whatever you like. Okay, but if you want to be part of the group as the Jama'ah, I'll give the answers that we're answering as a group. The real difference, I guess, is also for some people that want to stay on the 13th, put the 13th. It just helps for logistics in terms of planning for transport. And as I said, the group majority of people leave on the 12th to go back because that's the requirement. You've fulfilled the main requirement of Hajj. It is a sunnah to stay until the 13th for those that want to stay. That was done also. And if you want to, there'll be transport for you to go back to the hotel as well. So there's no penalty. It's just that you'll leave a day later. So that form is going to come out, but I'll send you the link on how to answer that form. So it's please very important. Medical practitioners, if you want to fill it out, fill it out. The sacrifice, Qurban's coming out. I will remind everybody about it, obviously, because we want everyone to do it before Hajj, to please fill that out and do your sacrifice, pay for it and have it done. And then when Rawaf send out the form for some of the logistics questions, we'll give you the answers that we're answering as a group. Nothing said you can change your mind. later. It's nothing set in stone. They're going to hold you to it. It's just for planning purposes that they're asking those questions. Does roaming work in Saudi? Yes, roaming does work. But as I said, if you're roaming, let's say you're paying $5 a day, for example, I think it's the cheapest roaming. If you're paying $5 a day and you're there for 18 days, you know, it's your $80 or whatever it is. It's a lot of money. Whereas you can pay $20 and get a SIM card in about 10 minutes, all over, like the SIM cards all over Saudi, the airports, the hotels, things like that. Tawaf al-Ifada and Tawaf al-Wada is the same or different? Tawaf al-Ifada is the Ziyarah Tawaf that we do on the 10th, 11th, or 12th of Dhul Hijjah. The Tawaf al-Wada is the farewell Tawaf that you do the day before you actually leave Mecca. So for those people going from Mecca to Medina, you would do it like the night before, or depending on, you know, like when you're leaving, certainly the night before. For those people leaving from Mecca to go home, definitely need to do it at least 24 hours before because of the time that it was going to take to go to Thing, inshallah. So that's been answered there. The 5 days done, yes, 10th, 11th. This country need to be uncensored. Yes, in Ihram, it definitely should be uncensored. And it's easily getting. There's a difference of opinion, but it's just safer to go with the uncensored. People are sharing their details for the packages. As I said, you'll be on the group, inshallah. So you'll be put into your groups in the WhatsApp group, and then you will have. If everybody doesn't, what I might do is ask on the group. If people don't mind, I will share a list of the names and the package, and I don't want to share people's emails and phone numbers. You see in public, you can see people's phone numbers and things, but I might share people's names on the WhatsApp group and the package that they're on, and then people can say, "Oh, my name's so and so. If anybody's on the same package, please reach out to me," just for privacy, things like that. Somebody's saying, "I don't know what package I'm on." You should know what package you're on. You booked the package. It says iPhone 5 Emily. So if you know what package you booked, then that's the package you're on. Vaccination certificate. Yes, the one from MyGov is perfectly fine. The package includes medical health insurance. It doesn't include travel insurance. Yep. Are we going to give you a carry bag? We will give you, yes, Rawaf will give you a bag, like a little backpack in Mecca that you can use on the Hajj days. Okay. Sleeping bag. You get a sleeping bag or a mat, yes, to use in Muzdalifah. How will I find my guide in the airport? You'll be, once you get to the airport, there'll be signs to tell you for Rawaf. You'll go there and then they will put you with your guide if the guide's not already on the plane with you. Many guides will be traveling on the planes. Some guides need to go earlier to receive you at the hotel. But when you get to the airport, we will go through the whole airport meeting points for the different airports as well.
We'll be talking about all this in the logistics meeting.
Yeah. Certificate, no certificate, but history listed on the Medicare. Yes, if it's got the history, it needs to show the date that you received the vaccination and the name of the vaccination at the very least. Yeah. Or your doctor, yes, your doctor should be able to give it to you as well. There's quite a few here. I think we've answered some of these after the first day. Yes, Oliver, you can. Your answer to the question is yes. I arrive in Mecca on the train to. I am arriving to Mecca, and on the train to Medina first, not by choice. Keen to learn how things will pan out. Leave there until this. So it's saying if you're arriving in Mecca. So I'm assuming, are you on a if you're on a Mecca first package? Yes, you will come to Mecca. If your flight's coming into Jeddah, I'm assuming then for that one, and then you will go by bus from Jeddah to the hotel, and then from Mecca to Medina, you will go by train. But what we'll do is we'll transport all the bags on a truck. So we will go through again how to do that, and you'll just be able to take your hand luggage bag or light bag on the train, so you're not carrying big suitcases and lugging around, just to make it easy for everybody, inshallah. I use Messenger to make a video calls. Any WhatsApp message? Okay, text. Yeah. Okay, travel insurance is not included. Travel insurance is not included. Medical health insurance is included. If something happens to you medically in Saudi, your Hajj visa medical insurance covers it. But travel insurance, like if you have to cancel your trip or you miss your flight or that's not covered. Do you have to have wudu? No, you don't, but it's good too. We are providing one set of ihram just for the men. For the brothers that are leaving from Australia going to Mecca first, last year Rawaf provided an ihram to them by post. So we'll follow up and we'll get that happening for the brothers that are going to Mecca first. For the brothers going to Medina first, you'll get your ihram in Medina, inshallah. Bags going by truck. Look, we'll cover this in the thing. It just means you don't have to carry your big suitcases on the train, inshallah. For the between Mecca and Medina, Medina and Mecca. But if somebody decides to go by train on their own volition from the airports, then they have to make their own arrangements with their bags. So that's why we're saying pack light. Keep things easy for yourself. Pack light, and you won't have any problem, inshallah. I went through that quickly. I know, sorry, because there's a lot, but there's some hands up. Let's go through some of the hands. Sister Seema. Is that the first
welcome.
one? Sister Seema, you still there?
They've given up now. They've waited too long.
Okay, I'll wait. Asma, Sister Asma.
Sister Asma, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very quick questions. I may have missed it when you guys said it. Are we allowed to wear sunglasses in the set of ihram?
Yes.
Okay. And the travel insurance, you just mentioned it. So travel insurance usually covers health, but you're saying any medical issues, it's covered with our Hajj package, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So to give you an example, when we were there last year, unfortunately, one brother had a heart attack.
Yep.
Okay. Alhamdulillah, he's well, like his back and everything. But transport, ambulance, everything, it's all covered as part of his insurance under his Hajj visa.
Okay.
But that's a medical issue. Yeah.
Yep.
So if you lose, for example, if you lose valuables, that's not covered. That's where your travel insurance comes in.
Yeah. And last thing, you guys said that there will be a backpack provided by Rawaf. Do you think we should stick with that or just still pack our own backpack to take?
I take my own, to be honest. The one that was provided from Rawaf last year, to be perfectly honest, was a little bit big.
Okay.
I thought it was big.
Okay.
I mean, I'm used to it now.
Yeah.
So I pack very light because just from experience.
Yeah.
But a light backpack, you can take it with you. It's
worst
better.
case, you can shove it in your big bag if something.
Yeah. And just last thing, because when I last did our Umrah, we did it with our shoes on, like when we did the Tawaf and when we did when we went to Sa'i, Safa Marwa. So I know Brother Hani mentioned this. So again, we just because I've got my own medicated sneakers, I just need to clean them before using them. Correct?
Yeah, it's just out of the hurma of the haram. As you mentioned.
100%.
It's just keep it clean.
Yeah.
You know, and you change it in. What we normally do is we go with our ihram like with our shoes, the men, the ihram shoes. When as we get into the haram area, we change our shoes and we put it in a plastic bag and put it in our shoestring bag or a little backpack. Because we put the clean shoes on, do the tawaf, do the sa'i, because it's hard marble. It's very hard marble, so we do recommend people to do that. But to each their own.
Yeah. Okay. Jazakumullah khair, I appreciate it.
Oliver.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Welcome.
Yeah, just a quick question in regards to the day one when we leave Muzdalifah in the morning after Fajr, inshallah, to go do Jamrah for the first day. Just wanted to, because I just keep talking to my friends who have done Hajj and they said that the preferred time is between Zohar and Asr and all that. So I was just wondering, because if we leave after Fajr and we are able to walk and we can be there in time and are done with our first Jamrah by say 7 o'clock, can we continue moving towards Haram? And then because our hotel is just only like 10 minutes walk from Haram, so we can just wait in our hotel rooms for the Qurbani text. And after that, we can get out of Ihram, shave our head, and then go and do Tawaf and Sa'i and come back to Mina then. Would that be a good option in your view?
So,
which hotel are you in?
Shaza 102.
Well, the walk from the I think like as Brother Hani mentioned, like you can answer this one, but like to walk from the Jamrat to the Haram, it's a good 5-6 kilometer walk.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can do that, yes.
Because if we are coming back after Jamrah, that's also a 4-kilometer walk back to Mina camp.
Yes.
So if we just continue moving on, because we are early, we are planning to do that early. If there is no preferred times for first day Jamrah, if we are done by 7 o'clock, we can just rest up a little bit right there and then keep moving towards Haram and then go to our hotel and rest up there. And let's say after Maghrib, we can come out and do our Tawaf, because my friend told me that after Isha, it will be quite easy to do Tawaf on day one.
Well, there's two main reasons people don't do what you're saying, right?
Okay.
The main
Yeah.
reason is the heat. So people don't want to do everything in the middle in the daytime, usually between like whatever it is up to Asr, right? So that's the first thing. So people try and avoid the heat. And then also that's when everyone is doing it. Everyone is usually doing everything. They want to get it out of the way first. So that's the most crowded time and it takes the longest to do things. So people try and avoid doing something that can take maybe 4 or 5 hours. Instead, it's taking them 8, 9 hours, you know? So that's the two reasons is the heat and the length of time that it could take, even though you think, oh, I'm just getting it out of the way and I'm moving on. But if you wanted to do that independently, that's your choice. Some people do that, but as a group, we won't be doing that.
If you're worried about coming back to like you're saying, coming from the Jamarat back to the camp, it's only about a 35-minute, 40-minute walk back to the camp. And then if you're going to go to do Tawaf Ifada later, you can go by transport. You can find transport on the road to take you closer. But what you're saying is from a fiqh point of view, yes, you can do that.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, just taking some time, but I'm just saying that on day one, if we continue moving, we can just do that and then get it over with. So that kind of stuff. So there's no preferred times. You can just go as earlier. And this holds good for the second day and third day Jamra as well. You can go anytime that's feasible to you.
The Jamrat, you're talking, when you say first day, we're talking about the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, which is when we come after Muzdalifah. On the 11th and the 12th of Dhul Hijjah, the stoning of the Jamrat should be done after midday.
Midday or
after midday, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Yep.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Wa alaikum. Sister Saima, are you there?
She come back or she's gone?
She's come back.
Brother Abdul,
Hello. Assalamu alaikum.
Sister Saima, welcome.
Okay.
No, I tried to unmute. I was here. Anyhow, my question is after Tawaf and then for Umrah, after Tawaf and Sa'i, after Sa'i, so we have to cut our hair, but we cannot unveil. Like, can we unveil our hijab and then cut?
Yes.
So we have to go to hotel or somewhere hidden.
You have to go, yes. Yes, you have to go to a hotel or you have to go somewhere close. Like Hani, what did the ladies do last time when we were...
So usually like the ladies would go back to the hotel, right? And they'd cut each other's hair.
In between going to hotel, if I stay in haram nearby your mosque and pray some, like if I go like in 1 hour, 2 hours, is it okay to cut in the hotel?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Just the ihram rules will still apply. You'll still be in ihram. So just, you can't use any soap or things like that while you're, you know.
Sister Adiba told me that.
Yeah. But if you have sisters with you, I'm sure there's a way you could probably, if somebody has a scissors in their bag, a small little scissors, you could work away somewhere where it's quiet and you can shield each other, and just to be out of that state of ihram, if you wanted to do that.
Okay. Yeah. And when are we gonna? Sorry, another question. It said when are we gonna buy SIM? So we have to use SIM mobile, or I don't know.
You're getting a SIM from Saudi Arabia. That SIM is going to have a separate mobile number, and it would be a Saudi number when you arrive there. And that,
you have to buy one there.
WhatsApp's going to work normal with your Australian number, right? But the Saudi number will be your to call number.
And data.
That's right.
All right. So I have to keep safe my own one.
Yeah, put it in your purse, or some people put it into the. If you have a phone cover, you can put it in there.
Unless you have an eSIM, like a lot of people, they don't have to take a physical SIM in and out.
I don't know that much. Okay, anyhow, thank you.
You're welcome.
Who's
next? Do we have?
What? Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. Brother, just a quick question. No one talk or mention about the Eid prayer or khutbah. What time, where?
I mentioned briefly when we were going to be in Arafah, right? Yeah. The imams that are there are going to do the Eid khutbah. There's going to be classes throughout the day. They're going to be doing dua. You're going to have your individual dua. Everything's going to happen throughout that day, inshallah.
But we don't
Same
pray
in
Eid.
Arafah.
We don't pray Eid
There's
Salah.
no praying of Eid.
Yeah.
Our
okay.
worship is Eid.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Brother Abdul, salam alaikum. Abdul's gone. Max, salam alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. This is Mahfouz here from Sydney.
Welcome.
Alaikum salam.
Yeah, brother, I think that 10 Dhul Hijjah is on Friday, right? So is there any special or specific plan for performing the Jummah? Something like that?
No. Hajj, you are on a completely different timetable from the rest. Jummah, Eid, all these things.
Yes.
So you're saying the 10th
Yeah.
of yes, it'll be Friday. No, there's no plan. We'll go through the normal Hajj day as normal, inshallah.
I see. Okay. Okay. So there is nothing like we need to perform the Jummah at Makkah or something like that.
No. We'll speak to the Sheikh, but we're not. It's because the Hajjis are separate. Hajjis are separate from the normal days of everybody else.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not concerned about the Eid though, but I'm just concerned about the Jummah, that whether we need to perform the Jummah at Makkah on that day or not.
No.
So inshallah, there's a lot going to be happening in the next 3 weeks, right? Specifically with allocating guides to the packages of the people, right? There's also going to be the logistics meeting, and the logistics meeting is going to answer a lot of your questions. We cannot, because we don't have answers to a lot of those questions, so we don't hold the logistics meeting 5-6 weeks out from the trip. So usually in about in about 3 weeks, give or take, we will have a lot of the answers to a lot of the questions, whether it's to do with bags, picking up, drop off, where you're going from Medina to Mecca, the buses, the trains, all that sort of stuff. But we know the general information is what Brother Yusuf gave to you, is that there's a truck to take your bags between Mecca and Medina for those people going by fast train. The train's going to take you between there and there. You're going to have buses taking you, if you're going to Mecca from the airport in Jeddah, okay? That can take many hours, can take 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, depending on what it's looking like. In terms of bags and what they entail, we'll let you know exactly what they are. But he did mention the advice, take your own backpack just in case. But there's going to be a lot of details given in the backpack from Rawaf, which we'll let you know very soon. So but definitely what you should be buying is what he mentioned, that point number 7, I think it was, and it had about 7 different things. Your vitamins, your cold and flu, your electrolytes. Follow that in the screen that we showed you earlier, and that would give you all that you need to take pretty much, along with getting a hat, having a bottle to spray and things like that. Other than that, we'll be giving you, and the dua book, like we mentioned, we can give you dua, no problems, but there's no specific dua. Okay, you have to do this dua on the Muzdalifah day or on Mina day or anything. It's just general dua that you're making. There is mustahab dua, for example, saying La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu al-mulku wal hamdu yuhyi wa yumiitu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. It can be said, it's something encouraged to say on day of Arafah, amongst saying the Surah Al-Ikhlas as well. But we'll be mentioning these in a bit more detail in the future, but there's nothing really prescribed. But logistics, please, for logistics, we'll be answering these questions more closely to the time, inshallah.
There's a couple of questions I think we should answer. I was asking about the wheelchair.
Okay.
So it'll be provided at the hotel. So once you get there, the wheelchairs are provided, and you'll obviously, if you're traveling with somebody, they'll be able to push you in the wheelchair. For anybody that's in a wheelchair, it's impossible to go by wheelchair to the Jamarat. Okay. So if somebody's thinking, oh, I'm going in a wheelchair and I'm going to go, someone will push me. No one can push you to the Jamarat. Even if somebody's with your family, they'll pass out in the heat. So wheelchair is for going to the mosque and back and forth, for the parts. You can use it in Arafah a little bit just for getting around. But for walking from the Mina camp to Jamrat, wheelchair is not an option. Okay, so you'll need to assign someone to. If you can't walk, you need to assign someone to, because whoever's pushing you in that wheelchair is not going to make it. It's just too hot, and also it's not the roads and the path. While a lot of it is paved, a lot of the path is not conducive for it. It's uncomfortable for you. So let's just keep that in mind. But you will get it at the hotels that you're there. And the WhatsApp group, somebody's asking the special WhatsApp group. It's not a special one. It's you for your package. Like if you're on 506 or 305, you'll all have your own. And even the main group that we've got now is going to be the general one. It's not about the Saudi number. The WhatsApp group will stay on your current number. So when you change your SIM card in your phone, nothing changes on your WhatsApp. It keeps the same. Your WhatsApp will just work as it normally does via the internet. So when it asks you, do you want to change numbers? And they say no, because you're going to put your Australian number back in anyway. So when you change your number to the Saudi SIM, your WhatsApp is just working as normal. It doesn't change to a Saudi number. It stays on your old or your current existing number, whatever it is now. Inshallah.
Jazakallah khair, everyone, for their attendance. We definitely went a bit over our prescribed time, but we could see that everyone had a lot of questions that they wanted sort of answered, which is not a problem. That's what we're here for. Just some key takeaways to take away. One, the actual program and the info pack about the tips and the etiquettes and things like that. Go over it yourself in your own time this weekend, the next couple of weekends, whatever it is, to know, to understand the different things and the tips that will help you during your trip, and things that you should take with you as well. That's number one. Second, don't forget we're doing this to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to pace ourselves. Now we're pacing to make sure we're ready physically. We can do, like he mentioned, build up your walking physically. If you can do 50 to 60,000 steps a week based on your fitness levels, that's good. Anything a little bit less is not too bad either. But Yani, you've got something to aim for. Patience. Is there a lot of waiting? Yes. Is there can be in the bus for long hours? Yes. Can you be separated from the group? Yes. So patience and following the instructions of the guides is very important. Now, we told you that we like the women specifically to be linked and chained when they're doing Umrah, even that we're leading them with you. There's a chance that sometimes we take 40 people and we come back with 10 people because of the crowds and the amount of people that are there. So we need to be realistic. We're there to help and assist, but we're realistic in the millions of people as well. The other thing is expecting long walks. Expect to walk a lot. Expect every day to be walking 5, 10, 15 kilometers, depending on what the situation is. Specifically, we're talking during the Hajj days. So it depends. Everyone's scenario will be different. Sometimes we'll have buses there to help people. Sometimes it might not be feasible. So walking is definitely an expectation everyone should have. Remember getting hydrated all throughout the whole trip. We mentioned other things to help you to keep you away from heat stroke and so forth, by being smart, listening to the leaders, staying in shade where possible, wearing hats where possible, and trying to avoid the middle of the day to do things as well, and overexerting oneself to do things that's not necessarily needed. And that's pretty much what I could say from my end. Yusuf?
Jazakallah khair. It's getting late.
Yep.
We have, I'm not sure what's the next meeting coming.
Oh, yes. So next Tuesday, I think we're doing we're doing another one for a lot of those people.
Wheels, yes.
Islamic Wheels.
Yes.
Yep. So don't forget to meet, if you didn't attend the first one, attend this one. And so you can know exactly the importance, your religious obligations when it comes to Islamic Wheels. And that should definitely help you throughout your life, not just for Hajj. It's something that we should be aware of and understand as a general disposition.
Yep.
And the other thing I think next week, is there anything else next week?
No, there's nothing for, well,
the women's, I think.
The women on the 23rd of April, sorry, next
There could be a talk. We might have a talk next Friday or Saturday. We will let you know earlier in the week. Most likely probably Saturday next week, which is more spiritual element of Hajj. We'll let you know if that's going to happen or not. But just keep aware, staying active on WhatsApp, inshallah.
Yeah, but this week will be there'll be a lot of information coming on the group. So we don't have too many meetings, but so yeah, the the Qurban Hadi link is coming for everyone. The medical volunteer link is coming. The dua book is coming, and the logistics questions that our wife is sending, the answers that we're using as a group is coming out. And probably as we get more things, we'll send it out definitely to you. And we're hoping by the end of this week, if like I said, once Nusuk has finished the allocations of those guides, then we will be able to allocate everybody properly and put you into your WhatsApp groups where you'll be able to link with your guide and with the people around you. But just keep in mind, the guide, any logistics questions will come to us as in the main part. The guide is going to be there for your support during the journey, inshallah, and as a first point of contact once you're on the trip itself. There's a support guy help you at the hotels, help you, get to the train, get to the bus, work things out like that. But we're all here to help. If everybody's there, we're working together as one big team, inshallah.
I hope everyone that's connected during the gatherings have hooked up now. I'm sure you've connected the telephones and you've had ice cream together now and you had coffees together and all that stuff.
Inshallah, I think there's going to be a Brisbane one. We're just getting the numbers for that.
Yeah.
And the other states. Inshallah.
It was really good to meet Muhammad today in the masjid, and inshallah we get to meet more of you in future. Ustaz Muhammad.
Jazakallah khair, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Wahdaka la sharika lak. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wal asr. Innal insana lafi khusr. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله تعالى العظيم. لله تعالى الفاتحة. جزاك الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'll send the recording inshallah.